Are we really? You even copied my boots. You actually copied my shoes. Look.
I showed up first though.
No, it's my house.
Yeah.
Right. Well, cheers to start.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome to Pandora's Box. That's the name. Did you know that?
You have a name now. Nice.
It's got a name, Pandora's Box.
Nice.
And we've got a lovely guest on, which is you. You want to introduce yourself? Because I literally don't know anything about you. Not much, really.
Born and brought up in Dubai.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I'm Shreya Patar. I run a LinkedIn branding agency.
I didn't know that.
I know you didn't know that.
I didn't know you were a writer.
I'm a writer. I
You're
love
a good writer.
writing. I think so, yeah. I write on all platforms. I like to share my thoughts. People like reading it. People like getting agitated by it.
I can't wait to be agitated by you.
That's good.
Okay, that was a really shit introduction. I didn't let you introduce yourself properly. LinkedIn person, apparently.
Girl.
Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, girl. Okay, we need labels.
Yeah.
LinkedIn girl. Twitter writer. Are you a ghostwriter?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. That's a good introduction. We'll go from here. So, have you always had your own business, or do you used to work for someone?
No, I've always had my own business. I did a few internships after university.
How old are you?
High school.
Can I ask?
Somewhere in my 20s.
Somewhere in your 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the internet knows too much.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But yeah, I have some experience just kind of in the corporate world as an intern. Did that on and off for like a year, multiple companies, lots of PR houses and agencies. So that was good exposure. And then I moved to Dublin for my university. I did my bachelor's in philosophy and literature.
Cool.
And that's when I started freelancing. So I started doing that as like a solo thing. And over time it turned into a business, an agency. I always wanted to be a business owner. So like I always knew that I wanted to have my own thing.
What about it? Like why?
I think that came a lot from like my family, because my parents have always had their own thing. Like my dad did have a job when I was younger, but then he took the risks of starting his own business. And he's been doing that for many, many years. So that was always a table conversation, like a dinner table conversation. So that worked out. And I really liked that my parents could always be there for me. Any events in school, like my parents were always there. And I realized very early on that they have a certain kind of freedom, a lot of responsibility, yes, but a certain kind of freedom that a lot of other families didn't. We traveled quite a bit. I'm quite well-traveled, well-read. And I realized that, I need to do that. So that's where it came from.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So for you, is it like more the freedom, or is it like I guess it's freedom by the sounds of it?
Freedom, and I don't like being told what to do.
A bit rebellious.
Yes.
Yeah, I told you walk up these fucking stairs, you were not happy.
We shall not talk about that.
No.
But yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, this is, if you can maybe tell, this ratchet setup is filmed on a roof, and it's a questionable route to get here, right?
Yeah.
You can say that.
There's gaps in the stairs. And it goes like that. So
Something out of a book.
yeah.
No? I'm sure you can write some content about this.
I'm sure I will.
Here's what I learned by walking up a dodgy staircase and nearly falling off.
Yep.
I really thought you were not going to make it.
I did. It was your podcast. I had to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a big podcast. I've got like 200 subscribers.
I love it. Like you'll get more from me now. So we'll see.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Why do you like writing?
It was the best way for me to think, to be honest. And I've always been a very by myself kind of person. I have a sister, but she's much younger than me. So by that time, my whole world was around, okay, it's me, myself, and writing was like a good way to just, think, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's quite cool if you think about the fact that the internet, there's a guy called Dakota Robertson. You probably know him.
Yeah.
I know he's like a big ghost writer thing. But it's quite cool that like now with the internet, you can just build a whole business just off being able to write copy.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
It's a bit crazy because, like I said, like I always wanted to run my own company. I wouldn't even say business. I would say I had this thing that I want to run my own company. And I always imagine myself in some kind of an office with tons of people all around in their little cubicles.
What, but you're the manager, like the puppet master? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean...
As in you're the boss and they all have cubicles.
I would be the boss. Like I just imagine people...
Have you seen those call centers? Have you seen those scammer call centers in India?
That's not what I meant. My God.
Sorry, I've exposed you.
Come on.
Huh? I can be a bit racist. I'm Indian.
Yeah.
It's annoying but true.
Okay, but like I imagine like a physical office space, so it's just interesting that now my entire business is like on my phone and on my laptop.
Fair.
My team is all over the world, my clients are all over the world. I think that idea, I mean I work from home, so that idea of what running a company looks like has changed, and I never imagined it would be this way. So
did your business like take off overnight one day, or was it like slow gradual progress? What was it like? What was your I did zero research, so I don't know.
I mean,
do you know what I mean? Like, was it quite exponential growth?
In some way, yeah, because I mean my first post on LinkedIn was something I made when I had just moved to uni, so about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. And
that first post had 1.5 million impressions.
Oh wow.
So it went viral.
What did you write?
I actually met the CEO of LinkedIn while I was in uni.
Yeah.
So he was there for some sort of an event. And I wrote, like, I'm a writer. So I just write personally. I write about all my experiences. And in this particular case, I thought, you know, LinkedIn, CEO of LinkedIn, might as well just post it on LinkedIn. And I did. And then that post picked up and 1.5 million people saw it. And they were like, you write so well, can you write for us? So yes, that moment was kind of when it just kicked things off.
Oh wow.
But before that, I mean, I've been writing since I was like 7 or 8 years old, every single day for like my entire life.
Really?
So it's really like, okay, you put in like those, I don't know, 10, 12 years of work before that viral post came along. But it was that post that kind of kickstarted things for me. And yeah, then I just kept experimenting. And
are there moments where you like look back and you're like, oh shit, I've done so much. Like I didn't even know you had 150,000. Is it more?
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't even realize you have so many followers. Did that like change something in how you view yourself maybe?
Not in a bad way, or I mean, I think it made me realize that I have a lot of influence and impact on people. Because the main thing was when I started freelancing, I was, of course, focused on getting clients and stuff. But then at one point, I started writing on LinkedIn about how I was running my freelancing business. So the simplest thing I was doing was I was charging in advance. And the biggest problem for freelancers in India is that most people do not get paid. So they get paid really, really less. We're talking like 25 paisa per word or something. I don't even know how to put that in cents, to be honest, because like 85 rupees is $1 approximately. So imagine like 1/4 of a rupee is what you're getting paid per word.
Oh, gee,
that's how it was working. Yeah. So
was that infinite money glitch? ChatGPT write 1 billion words.
There was no ChatGPT then.
I'm joking.
Yeah, but it was just sad, and I didn't know about that. I was just doing my own thing. I didn't learn business from someone. For 3-4 years, I just winged it. I was doing my own thing, and it worked to whatever capacity. And I started talking more and more about this, and now it's become a thing. Now, so many content creators from India are talking about exactly this thing, that you should charge in advance, that you should get paid in advance, and people are doing that. And they're able to charge in USD, they're able to work with international clients. And so many people message me that, you know, they are making more money than their entire household income at 18, at 19, at 20, compared to like anyone else in their entire family. And that has, like, my content has helped them do that.
Wow.
So when I see that, I'm like, okay, this is not just 150,000 on like followers. It's 150,000 people who have seen me at some point and decided to hit follow, decided to maybe have me pop up on their feed at some point and actually apply what they see. And yeah, like I feel very good about that. That's something I'm really proud of in some way.
No, it makes perfect sense, because you're not just it's really nice that you said that, because it shows that you care about the purpose and the actual people behind it. Because look, I mean, we live in Dubai, and you meet a lot of creators out there, and what do they chase? They just chase money, money, money. And there's nothing wrong with making money, but I love people that have actually like a passion, and they have a purpose behind it, and they see the bigger picture, which is this form of capitalism where you're making money because you're providing value, not just to the direct people, but then all these other people for free, which is such a cool thing if you think about it. Because I've thought about this too, like not philosophically, I don't know what word to use, but 20 years ago, for you to reach 150,000 people, you would have to either get on TV or have like a PR agency or like run a magazine or, you know what I mean?
Scandal.
Like or like Scandal or something like this. I'd definitely get caught in a scandal. But now you can just do it for free from your phone. You know, even me with my like silly like 100, 200 followers, I find it so, I actually laugh. But like the other day I was at dinner and I had a friend who said, oh, like I watched your whole podcast. And I just find it funny. I know it's one person, you've got 10 million times more than that, but it's quite cool that like you have this kind of, it's one to many, right? Rather than a one-to-one approach. I'm quite curious, do you feel that having success at a young age has kind of affected how you see the world?
It really depends on like the definition of success as well.
Okay, how do you define success?
That's a hard one for me. I've thought about it a lot. I mean, on the business front, it's typically revenue. That's what everyone talks about, like how much money are you making? And I had a very interesting conversation with someone recently, and we were just talking about how far I have come. And this is actually also something I notice when I go back home. Like I was just home last week, and then when I come back here, for some reason, like I suddenly have that shift of, okay, I feel so grateful that I can be here in a city like Dubai, because this kind of stuff does not really happen back at home, at least in the kind of area or neighborhood that I've kind of grown up in. So I think that success kind of becomes more like a comparison of, okay, listen, maybe you're not where you want to be. This is not your ideal place to be yet, but look at all the steps you've taken. And I'm really like, I'm grateful that I could make this happen for myself. I think even like moving to Dubai, to be honest, it was a very big decision, and it was one of the best decisions. People are very skeptical about it, especially when I moved. A lot of people were questioning as to why I moved here, intentions, you know how it goes. And people think that, you know, someone's sponsoring me to stay here, I get paid money just for free or whatever. It's not how it works, and in some sense, it's very easy, especially in Dubai, to lose that sense of accomplishment, because everyone's a million steps ahead of you. You realize at some point that they also didn't come from a lot of money, or they didn't come from that kind of success. They made it happen. So I think, like defining success for me gets a little bit challenging. So maybe going home is like a humbling way to be like, listen, you've done so much. There's no reason you can't do more. Something like that. Kind of, but I feel like you still didn't answer the question. I did not. No, you didn't. You just scooted around it. You're a writer. If your task is, if I had said to you, like a ChatGPT prompt, like define what success means to you, how would you write? I really don't know. I would throw in an M- somewhere in there to make it ChatGPT, obviously, but I don't know. What are the things that you enjoy doing the most? Is writing. I enjoy writing. I enjoy being in new places. I think the most thing I enjoy is being curious. I've realized that when I just do things just because I can, like I accept that, you know, I can just do stuff. I can just say yes to a podcast like 1 hour before we decide to shoot. Pretty spontaneous. I can just reach out to anyone and ask them if they would be down to meet me, and they've said yes. I can reach out and apply for anything, any opportunity I want, any job I want, and I will get an interview. Like I can just do things just because, and that has been a very good shift, because that stems from curiosity. Like what could happen?
Like what's the worst case kind of thing?
Yeah, what's the worst case kind of scenario? I don't like asking that question, by the way, because I feel like that's a challenge to the universe, and then it gives me the worst possible thing, and it's like, listen, this is the worst. So I don't like doing that.
Fair.
But I do like asking, like, okay, if I just try it, like, it could also work out. Yeah, it likely won't, but it could. So why not just try? This is not how I always was. So maybe this is also a form of success for me. Like just having that sort of evolution in some sense, becoming a more curious person.
How do you keep growing in terms of curiosity? Because you've traveled half the world, you've read 1 million books, you've had really good business success. Is there like a next level?
There is, because I haven't done much. Like I have been to a few places, yes, there's so many more to see. I've not read as many, like I haven't even read books that I have in my house, and I still keep buying new ones. And even with the business, I think all these things are more about just how I evolve as a person, because the books I'm reading right now are not the same books. I would not have even picked them up just a few months ago, but I'm reading them now and I'm obsessed with them.
What are you reading right now?
So I'm very obsessed with Carl Jung right now. So I'm reading a lot about dreams, subconscious, how the subconscious manifests itself in dreams. I'm realizing that it really applies to me because I dream very vividly, and it's been very helpful. Like I can kind of process my dreams in hindsight after the event has passed, and I can be like, I actually dreamt that. So that's my new obsession. It's very different.
What's a recent dream that maybe you've had that has maybe affected you, or you've woken up thinking, or maybe you've journaled about it or written about it and thought, wow, that really hit home?
Let me think about it. There were quite a few. Okay, so I was speaking to a friend about, like, she runs a very successful agency, and I also have my agency. But I was speaking to her about an opportunity, and she said that she would discuss with her business partner and let me know. And we were like almost like, okay, we will do this. And then I had a dream that the business partner said, this is not going to work. Like, let's not do this. And I didn't follow up with her. I didn't do anything. I said, like, let her take her time. And she texted me 2 days later saying, hey, I spoke and I don't think this would be the right fit, for all good reasons, by the way. She was very considerate of what I expected as well. And it didn't work out. And she also reads Carl Jung. Like, she's the one who actually introduced me to it. So I said, hey, I dreamt of this, by the way. I dreamt that it was a no. And I think it allowed me to be so much better prepared for the outcome. And that's the thing I've realized about my dreams, right? I already kind of see it coming. Obviously, this was like very explicit, but it's not.
Now.
It's not
Sound like a witch.
Yeah. No, it's not that explicit all the time, obviously. This was like a one-off scenario. There have been so many things that I could just deal with so much more preparedness and more confidence because I dreamt of it. And in some way I was just ready for it, even without it being like consciously out there. Subconsciously I was like, I'll deal with it, and I expect it. I see it coming.
What does Carl Jung mean to you? Or what are your biggest takeaways so far? You said you've gotten so into it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because like everything he says about, I mean, of course, I've not read all of his works and I'm still getting through a 400 or 500 page book. But as far as I understand, the way he says that, you know, your dreams are basically a manifestation of your subconscious, it makes me realize that we already know the things that we want to do and that we don't want to do. We already know how we see a certain scenario, a person, a situation. Like, we are already aware. We're just maybe afraid of letting that come through, or we're not ready to let that come through, but we already know. So I feel like it's just become a more positive push for me to rely on my intuition more than anything else. Like, it does not even matter what the other person says. It's more about if something feels off, or if I'm not sure of something, I have good reason to not be sure of it. I don't need to
question it.
I don't need
doubt.
to pick out a reason or question, or I don't need to do that. If I feel it, that's it. I wrote about this recently that, you know, you should never give someone so much benefit of the doubt that you start doubting yourself. because I realized that I tend to do that because I think people are nice, people don't intend to do certain things, but a lot of times, even if you don't intend to, but if that's a behavior, a pattern, it doesn't mean that I should accept it or allow it. And giving that benefit of the doubt to others at the cost of myself was like a big mistake. And I think this is also something I realized while reading these books, that I already know the stuff, but I'm just afraid of the consequences of letting this out maybe too soon. But I think I should make decisions faster then, I guess.
Do you find this type of stuff affects your relationships with men, friends, family?
Like the books I read?
Well, Carl Jung, for example. Yeah, the dreams, why not? Because how I understood your last answer was, it sounds that maybe previously in your life, you kind of gave away too much power in a sense, or because you trusted other people so much more, you ended up getting fucked over in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? But now you've learned to trust your gut feeling and to really trust yourself and listen to your own wisdom, that inner divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. My question was, how you found trusting yourself to have positively or negatively, or how has it changed your relationships, if it has?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of careless, because I know a lot of people say that, it's more about learning to love yourself, learning to love to spend time with yourself, just do your own thing and things will come along. I think that's fine, but I don't think things happen without putting in effort. So what I've learned is that I will put in effort from my side when I want to and when I feel it's fair. And it's just more about making a decision faster. So I guess in some way being more detached when I see people behave in a certain way. At a particular point, you just accept that this is people's behavior. This is who they are. It is not about me. And if I'm not okay with that, I just either need to accept it when it happens or actively walk away from it. I found that, sometimes I do dream about people, like very specifically. Like you said, you think about something and suddenly someone and they message you.
Yeah,
that happens. Funny enough, like I was thinking just yesterday that I want to do a podcast because, in April, I don't have any shoots planned. I typically do at least 1 or 2 a month in Dubai. And I was like, I wonder where the next one will come from. And here we are,
manifested it.
2nd of April, here we are. I guess sometimes I've also had dreams about specific people. And for some reason, like, I don't know if that's something I expect from them or I'm pushing on them. I don't know what it is. But again, they show the same behavior that I dream of. So it's more about identifying patterns, I guess, and knowing which ones I don't want to repeat in my life and walking away from them. It sounds so intense. Like I'm not a freak, I swear. Like
if you say that, you probably are.
We're just talking about this.
No, but I think how I hear, from what I'm hearing, it just sounds like you're learning to have healthier boundaries.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're adding lots of layers of complexity and manifestation.
Yeah.
No, but it's genuinely true. It's from what I understood of what you're saying, a lot is just. I heard a good quote recently, which was, I don't care about your words, I care about your actions.
Yeah. And
it's so true. And especially in a place like Dubai that can be seen as so superficial and fake and two-faced.
Yeah.
I do it for sure. I don't judge people on what they say. I judge people on what they do.
Yeah.
Like we did that charity thing recently.
Yeah.
And I had people say they donate, but there was no donation, right?
Yeah.
So that again, it's like seeing what someone says they'll do versus seeing what someone actually does.
Yeah.
Where it's like kind of where you put your money where your mouth is, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think your standards, because you were at university in Dublin, and then you became, by the sounds of it, I don't know, but it sounds like quite a successful entrepreneur. Has that changed your views on who you can date? You don't want to talk about it.
No, it's not that. I think I'm learning how to do it right. It's not something that I was taught, and it's something that I'm starting to have a conversation with my family now, and I'm learning a bit more about it now. The thing about Dubai is obviously that it's so multicultural, and every country, every city has its own way of dating.
That's true.
They have their own idea of what dating is for, where dating leads to, how long-term or short-term I didn't even know how many words people can add and how many labels people can add to things, but all of those become forms of dating. For me, like, honestly, dating is like you find someone to get married to. That's my idea of dating. That's how I understand it. So I'm learning now how to do it right. I mean, I provide for myself. I have my own life. I have a lot of freedom with the kind of work I do. I am my own boss. I lead a team, so I have those leadership traits. So I know that by personality, I'm definitely very headstrong. It's not easy for people to accept that or to kind of work around that. And I understand that there are also changes that are required in terms of being so headstrong as well with certain people. But,
you know, you're so PR trained how you talk.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not know that.
No, I feel like you are. I feel like you're... Not to call you out, but how you were talking earlier, you were just talking. Now you're talking like in front of an audience.
Okay, no one's ever said that.
Sorry to be that guy.
No.
Because it's supposed to be for a good thing. You do it to protect yourself because you don't want to say the wrong thing in front of an audience. You know? Now, I don't give a fuck, but you do. So it's different.
No.
It's true. It's true.
Okay. That's weird because, I mean, I don't know if you've seen my Twitter, but I haven't seen anything. I'm so direct. I'm just so direct. I'm always very direct with what I say. I guess dating overall is a bit of a difficult topic to talk about.
Fair enough. What's your ideal man?
I will know it when I see it.
So you said that dating in Dubai is quite different to other parts of the world. Are there like specific things or like red flags that you look for in Dubai versus other places?
I think a guy's Instagram profile in Dubai is very different from anywhere else. So I think that's the first thing to look at. Traveled a lot, like that's great. Like you've traveled, you're successful, blah, blah. But I think the kind of pictures that people post is very questionable sometimes. I do not like.
You're not having a dig at me, are you?
No. And the most important, to be honest, is their following list. Who do they follow? And a lot of times they'll just follow these random people who don't probably know they exist or just...
follow all the influencer girls.
Yeah, just from like the guy's point of view, what's a red flag you see in Dubai?
I think, and I've said this before, but because Dubai can be such a superficial place, it attracts a lot of kind of superficial people. Yeah. And I'm not really into that. I say looks gets you in the door. Like everyone wants to be with someone attractive and there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't keep you there. Yeah. And red flags I personally look for are, well, I said this to my friends the other day. I said, one of the questions I ask on a first date is, I ask girls what they like to do for fun, if money was no object. And I was dating this model recently, and we're ended now. Her answer was, she wants to go shopping for handbags, she wants to go to beach clubs, she wants to go to a nice fancy dinner, and she wants to go for a yacht, on a yacht. That's her ideal day. Now I asked another friend yesterday, and she's just a friend, but someone that I really vibe with. And I said to her the same question. And she said something like, oh, like wake up, go for a run, have like I think it's like what's it called? Like an acai bowl. Yeah, matcha and acai bowl. Read in the sun, spend some time with family, stuff like more wholesome activities, right? And so I value those more wholesome traits, let's say, more than the superficial bullshit, or like to me, bullshit, flashy lifestyle ones. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's fun to do sometimes, but I just, I think a lot of it is like fake. I think a lot of it is you're trying to just one up the person next to you. I'm not really into that. I want like a real person.
Don't you think people can rehearse that answer?
Rehearse what?
The answer to the question, like, what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, I know. That's why I regret saying it out loud.
I mean,
when I blow up, people are going to tell me what I want to hear. That's also why I said before, you can tell, don't look at what someone says, look at what someone does.
Yeah.
And when you operate from that mode, and you start to operate on that mode on a consistent basis, you can quickly see through people's lies, because you tend to then like pick up and focus on, like people's bullshit and people's web of lies is the easiest way to put it. Here's a quick interesting one. Yeah. Do people treat you differently in a dating way when they see that you're famous or not famous, or like have a big following or have like a big business first? Maybe in the past when you were just at university? Like, do guys treat you differently?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of them maybe just may not know what I'm doing exactly. I mean, they're doing pretty well for themselves as well. So here's the thing. I think because of, let's say, my Instagram, for example, or my LinkedIn, nobody's probably seeing my LinkedIn, but my Instagram for sure, there comes certain preconceived notions about how I may be. So that is very easy to beat when someone spends time with me.
Fair.
So I think that becomes a bit tricky because they have a picture in their head of what I am likely like as a human being and not as business owner Shreya, corporate Shreya, work professional Shreya, but what I am as just Shreya. But I'm not like that. Like that's just one part of me. It's not all of me, and that's not how I always am. Like I'm this stoic business person. That's not going to happen in real life. In real life, you're going to hear about my problems. In real life, I'm going to rant. In real life, I'm going to just, laugh and be me and be normal. Person. And not going to talk about work.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also talk about work sometimes. So I think that bubble bursts pretty quickly. That's one of those things that becomes difficult to navigate. Like they see this independent kind of boss babe kind of thing, but that's not me. Like that's one side of me. That's not all of me. And yeah, that gets hard.
Does it get tiring?
I think overall, in general, with people, it does. Because one of the things I hear a lot is that, I've always heard this, is that you're so sorted. Shreya, you're so sorted. You always knew what you wanted to do. It worked out so quickly for you. You figured it out. We are still figuring things out, blah, blah. You're so lucky, you're so sorted. Like this word sorted has become like a label for me.
Does it annoy you?
And not really. Like I understand what people are saying, but at the same time, it's not true. It doesn't annoy me. It just makes me realize that they don't see me. They're still not seeing me. Of course, it's very rare that you will actually get to know someone. I feel like today, you might hang out a lot with the same person, but you still wouldn't actually get to know them. But again, that tricky angle for me is that when someone gets to know me, if they're not ready for the fact that their image of me is not me, they will run away. A lot of people like to say that, oh, these people, these guys or girls, whatever, these people are intimidated by successful women. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the intimidation. I just think that it's a lot of responsibility towards another person, and that's the whole point of a relationship, a friendship relationship, is that you have someone you can rely on, someone not for the good days but also for the bad days. If that becomes too much, they're not going to stick around. So yeah, that's a bit difficult.
Do you ever find at networking events or you go to these events and seminars and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Do you ever find people do you get this sense that people come up to you and they want to make a friendship with you, but because they want something out of you? Do you get that much or not really?
It does happen.
Maybe you're too intimidating.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm so scared.
The thing is, like, it's very difficult. That's funny, yeah?
Oh, it's funny.
I mean, yeah, okay. Coming to your question, it's difficult to tell people's intentions. I think that's a concern. Again, people say things and then they don't do them. So that gap between what they say and what they do is big. Like, at least here in Dubai, it's big. There's definitely a lot of, I guess, transactional relationships in that sense. So a lot of my networking events, or like even just things I go to, like last night I went to this random tech event. Like
Tech Tuesdays?
Yeah. I
wasn't there.
But have you been to any of theirs?
I went to one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
hated the people on my table.
You know the kind of crowd that we're talking about. I mean,
you know what? Like, not to phrase. Fuck it. I tell you why I got annoyed. I went to one not long ago, and it's because my friend was talking. But
same.
A lot of the girls that I met quite a few women there around my table, and it was like exactly like they were there because it was with a supercar club. It was like a supercar club Tech Tuesday thing, and you could tell all the girls were there because they wanted to meet a rich guy that was like had his shit together and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was like so superficial, so like I was like, I'm not here to date. Like the thing with some of these networking events is it can feel very like transactional, like give business card, LinkedIn, go. They never message you, not once.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you didn't actually get to know me. You didn't actually try and build a relationship with me.
Yeah.
That's why I also I don't go to as many networking events now. Now I try and host my own things. because I try and bring genuine people together, and I stick to my word for the most part, and I try and bring like genuine people together, and like people that I'm like, I know you'll get along with my other friends, and I know that you'll make real friendships, because I have like a strong filter. That's what I gave up with all these events, so I just started making my own, basically.
Oh, that's fair. I get what you mean, because socialization is so hard in Dubai.
It is.
I think that's why, like for me, that's why I go to these events. Like I go just because. Like yesterday, my friend was speaking at the event. I have even gone all the way to Abu Dhabi to hear him speak. Like I will do things.
That's cool.
Just because I know that these people are good and they have good things to offer, so I can be a part of it. And this is also like my ticket to just being more social. I wasn't a social person. Like this is very out of the box for me. It is something that I have put a lot of effort into, and I don't want to lose this. It's only something I've been doing for the last year or so, not longer. Somebody asked me like, oh, so what made you come here? And I said, yeah, I'm here to, listen to my friend. And he's like, okay, and then, what about like tech? Like, were you sure you wanted to do a tech thing? I was like, I don't know. I could just show up. So I showed up. Like, literally, you can just do things is like my motto now. Like, you can do whatever you want. Just do it and figure it out later. Like, if you don't like a party, you can leave. Except when it's a yacht party. I think that's the only problem that I have with Dubai. I can't swim.
Oh, you're trapped.
Unfortunately, I'm trapped.
You're trapped.
So yeah, hopefully the yacht.
I'll never invite you to one. Don't worry.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll invite you.
I'm sure your friends are cool.
Mine aren't. Okay.
So I think I'll get along.
Okay, I'll invite you to my ones. Okay.
But yeah, like that's what I go for. I don't have an agenda like I want clients or I want to network or I want to say hi to as many people as possible. Because when I was learning to be more social, a lot of my friends said, just go and try to say hi to like 10 people in the next 1 hour. Just go say hi. I don't want to do that. I typically spend the entire event talking to just 1 or 2 people.
That's the best way to do it.
Fine.
That's I'm very good at walking into rooms and not caring, and I can speak to everyone and I can speak to one person.
Yeah.
And I've realized the best ROI I get is I just speak to one person and I get to know them, but I don't get to know them for what they do. I get to know them for who they are.
Yeah.
And sometimes cool stuff happens and sometimes not. Like I did not know about any of your following.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Even when you messaged me about like podcast thing, well, did I ask you or did you ask?
I said you have a cool podcast.
Yeah,
you said
fine.
I'm looking for a guest. I said, excuse me.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
Excusez-moi. Yeah.
But it's quite funny because I like had no kind of context or no. I just try. I was just. You seem nice because you turned up to that charity thing and we spoke at dinner and I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to speak to you.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, I also have a following. And I was like, okay, cool. You also just end up like hanging out and spending more time with genuine people yourself because you kind of like. Maybe it goes back to that Carl Jung thing, but I really feel like you end up getting back what you put out there, in a sense.
I really don't believe in that.
You don't believe in that? Oh, how come?
Because I feel like you wouldn't get burnt if that was true.
But is being burnt not like being like it's just learning a lesson, no?
Yeah, but
feels shit at the time, but
yeah, it's like you have to learn these lessons the hard way. And at one point you realize that no, you cannot be yourself in most cases. You have to wait. You have to wait, and I like to say that getting to know me is a privilege that very few people can afford. I love saying this because, no, genuinely, it's so important because, again, it comes back, I think, to the whole boundary thing, right?
Fine.
Because when I look back at certain people I knew, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, I told them so many things about me. I gave them so much of my time, my energy, and I was always there for them. And I was like really? For them? Like, they couldn't show up even for this one small thing or whatever. Yeah, it was actually my uncle, because he also lives in Dubai, and this one of these times I was ranting to him about this whole situation. He's like, you realize that not everyone should be allowed access to you. You choose the people that you spend time with. You say no, or you walk away from scenarios that you don't want to be in. And that's when I realized that, because I wasn't like that. I was very like, okay, I will talk to people. That's fine. What's the harm? But in some ways, like protecting your energy, in some ways protecting your peace. And a lot of these things just basically come from you realizing that you are, like, in my case, I think I am exceptional in some way. and it is a privilege to get to know me, not in a snobby way, but in a genuine way, because
you just know your value, you know your worth.
I know
and
my
there's nothing
values,
wrong with
so
that.
yeah, it's a privilege.
Well, I'm so #blessed. I also think that it's quite cool because I don't think a lot of people understand how expensive and how valuable your time is. Our time, whatever, people's time is, you know, and especially when you become, I think this is what changes, is when you become like a high level entrepreneur, you recognize the kind of ROI effects of your time. And it's like you spending an hour with me or you spending an hour with something else or whatever, there's an opportunity cost in that. And it's like you could be working and you could be affecting like 10 other families, for example. Right? But instead you choose to spend it with me doing this random podcast, right? So there are genuine like trade-offs. And those are like little calculations that we all have to play in our head. But I think that when you go up the kind of entrepreneurship ladder, because you're maybe seeing more and more numbers stack up against that, you maybe realize more the value of your time. You said about a year ago, you started to maybe started networking and getting out there more. Why did you make that change?
That's interesting. I think I was lucky enough to kind of be forced into it as well, in a good way, because I met a few people in Dubai that are just extremely good at networking, good at bringing people together. And before that, I didn't even have a lot of ways to find opportunities to actually show up somewhere. And now I was starting to do that. Somebody invited me for a podcast in Dubai. That was the first time I did a studio podcast as opposed to like an online podcast or something. That opened up a few doors. I started applying for certain events and stuff. Like, I was just aware that things are going on and I was signing up to stuff. If I could go, I would go. That's it. I don't know why I chose to do that exactly. I'm not aware of that exact switch. But for the longest time, I used to say that I'm not a social person. Even when I went to these events and people would be like, oh, so what do you like to do, blah, blah, blah. And I would list out a lot of things and I would say, yeah, I'm not a party person. I'm not a social person. I don't like loud places. And then I show up at like a techno night a few months ago in Jan. There was a techno night and my friend was like, you have to be there. And I showed up and everyone was shocked.
The cookies and cream one thing.
Everyone was shocked. Like, people were shocked that, what are you doing here?
Where's your
You're
book?
not here. Where's your book? Or where's your whole rant about, you know? So I think I just changed that. I've stopped saying that. I don't say that I'm not a party person. I'm a figuring it out person. If I find the right people to hang out with, I can gel. It's more about the company than the place. Maybe except when it's a yacht, I have something against that. But I did go to a recent yacht party as well, which was quite nice.
The cookies one as well.
Yeah, and that's a good that's a good way to meet people. But yeah, it was just a shift that I'm in Dubai. Like, why am I sitting in my room, cribbing about not having friends, cribbing about nothing happening for me when I'm not stepping out? How am I going to meet people?
It's funny you say this because I went on a little rant to my friends recently and I was like, there are so many entrepreneurs in Dubai that are literally this is not targeted at you, I'm speaking in general terms, but like in their ivory towers, like Burj Khalifa view, like whatever, floor 70, you don't leave your room, you get Kareem just delivered to your door or whatever, and you just sit there and you hustle, which I really respect. And I think you need phases of that. But what are you doing this for? Like, you need to live life as well. You need to, I think it's healthy to meet people. I think it's healthy to get outside, socialize. We're social creatures. Run, have a hobby, you know? I ask a lot of people, like, what are their hobbies? And people don't have hobbies here. And it's just funny. I've never had that in any other city in the world.
#locked in.
#locked in, yeah. Locked in for LinkedIn. Is that your hashtag? Maybe. That's a pretty good hashtag.
Yeah. Thanks. I will use it.
Can you credit me?
I will.
This is a classic question, but a good one. What would you tell yourself as an 18-year-old girl if you could speak to her today?
The thing is, at 18, I listened to no one. So I'm very aware of that. So it wouldn't matter what I said.
If she had to, if she listened, what would you tell her?
I would say two things. I would say, first of all, like, set stronger boundaries, because that's something I learned very recently. So strong boundaries. And the second thing I would say is live a little outside of your head. Live in the moment and not stressing over trying to get through the moment, but actually experiencing exactly what's happening to you. Live more in the present because it's going to be gone anyway soon.
What's the only thing you have?
Sorry?
It's the only thing you have.
Yeah. So.
What are things that you do to be present?
I struggle with that quite a bit.
Do you reckon there's a correlation with reading a lot and being out of not being present? Because reading is super interesting. It's essentially daydream, lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm. Reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you read like a story, well,
yeah,
maybe
you
not.
Can imagine.
Yeah, but you're imagining things, but your eyes are open.
Yeah.
You're basically like lucid dreaming in a way. You're dreaming, but awake, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But you're not being fully present, maybe, because you're kind of like thinking about the story or whatever you're being told.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've found that it's very easy for me to have one point of focus. Like when I'm reading or when I'm working, like there could be the TV on, there someone's having a party. Like I could literally be bang in the middle of a party and I can still be working, and I would not need any noise cancellation or anything to be focused because I just want to get stuff done. So I'm very good at zoning out, which means I'm also very good at zoning out in my own head. Like I can zone out of like literally a conversation if I choose to, right? I don't know. I think maybe also in hindsight I've realized that if that has happened, it's just because that person was not interesting or that situation was not for me. And that's why, let's say, for most social events, I used to feel drained out. Like I used to be like, when can I leave? When can I go back home? I can't wait to sleep. I can't wait to just be in my bed again, you know. But I don't feel that way anymore. Maybe it's just finding the right people, and then it's easier to live in the moment. When
you find the right people, spending time with them should be something that can give you energy, if anything.
Yeah.
I get so much energy from my friends because they're, to me, really genuine, nice, trustworthy people.
Yeah.
They're inspiring, they're cool, well-read, well-traveled. These people, I love spending time with them because we can just talk for hours.
Yeah.
And we do talk for hours, and I can just spend time with them, and I come home from them and I feel refreshed.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, there are some people that you meet here, and this can be the difficulty with some of these events, is you go and you think, fuck, like, it's kind of tiring, you know? But it's because you're just having to filter, and maybe that's the filtering that is tiring. Maybe that's it.
Maybe. And I guess, you know, now that you say it, the filtering process, it might seem like, oh, it's just like a checklist, but it's not. It is so much gathering of information that you're actively burning all that calorie in your brain, basically trying to make decisions of even like who to talk to, what to say, what not to say, whether you want to see them again, whether you want to be at an event again, or what kind of, you know, outcomes to expect or whatever. It's a lot of mental work. And I think the best kind of people are the people that we say we can turn our brains off with. Like there's no filter, that there's respect, but there's no filter in the sense that there's no fear of judgment.
Why does it matter if you're judged?
It's not that it matters. Again, I think it comes back to the whole privilege of access thing. It's like certain people just don't need to know certain things. So even holding things back or not saying things also requires its own mental effort, causes its own mental taxation, which I think probably also drains you. Yeah.
It sounds like, I might be wrong, but it sounds like being present at the moment is something you want to work on. What are you doing to work on that?
I'm trying to do things slower. That's the major thing. I'm trying to take my own sweet time with like making my morning coffee, or, you know, making my meal, or sitting down and eating, taking my own sweet time to like get ready and not rushing through things, not leaving things for the last minute. Even with my work, I feel like there was a point when, of course, all these AI things started happening, and I was feeling I honestly felt stupid that something was taking me more than 5 minutes to complete, because I was like, how is everyone using AI to, you know, build their entire thing in like 30 minutes or whatever? Why is this taking me 3 hours? And I was so frustrated by the whole thing. I was like, I'm not being efficient. But I like doing these things. I like running my business. So there was no reason why I should have AI do it in like 30 minutes. It's fine if it takes me 3 hours. And that switch was like very important for me because again, I could slow down. I was not operating from like, I have to finish this, but I want to enjoy the process. I want to do it. Like, this is literally my job. I want to do this. Like, that I feel really helps me out. So just slow
It's because it sounds like, from listening to you there, it sounds like you kind of understood a perspective of going from a state of resistance to non-resistance.
Yeah.
And I've got an example recently, which is, you know, I was in India last week and I'm Sikh. And so I went to the Golden Temple, Amritsar.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but my dad decided to go Friday morning, which apparently is a busy time, and I didn't know this. The queue was 3 hours, and you're genuinely like wedged, kind of like sardine. Like, it's a pretty terrible queue.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And there were moments, because you see how long this line is, and you see how slowly it's moving. It's moving like a little, like, I don't know, 5 meters every 20 minutes or something like that. It goes in like waves and then waves and then waves. And it was an interesting experience, because I think for myself, it was a reminder how the best thing to do is just be completely non-resistant to the moment. Yeah. Because when I was like stuck in the queue and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I hate being in this queue. Why am I stuck here? I can't do anything. Like, you're squished like a sardine. You can't go out. You can't go forward. You're just stuck. Yeah. You know, and it's like almost terrible. But then also, I kind of had this wave of just like, oh, whatever. And as soon as I thought, whatever, it went like that.
Yeah.
Because I was fully non-resistant to the moment, and I ended up enjoying it. I just started laughing at it. I was like, this is so obscene. I mean, look, this morning, I've started meditating again.
Okay.
I actually did it on this roof this morning, because I did it topless under the sun.
I see.
But get some vitamin D, because you can't walk around topless here.
You can actually.
On the beach.
You can run. I've seen people all.
To be fair, do you know Andy Elliott?
No, I guess not.
Massive, really big content creator. I was in the marina today, and I see this topless dude walk, because his whole thing is he's like walks around always topless with like really short shorts with his like wife and kids. And he's like in the US, like quite like a salesy person. And I was walking from my friend's place in the marina, and I just see this dude like in the smallest booty shorts walking topless. I'm like, who's this guy? And then I got close to him and I literally was like, no way.
You didn't get a podcast with him?
Huh? No, I didn't talk to him. He's with his family. I respect that. Plus, I only have cool people on.
I see.
There you go.
Okay.
We can end up. I'll tell you the biggest change for my life in terms of being present is getting a motorbike, which sounds so dumb, but it's because it kind of is. Getting that motorbike genuinely changed my life, because when I ride it, you can't think about anything, because you have to be fully there. It's such an immersive experience that it kind of forces you to the now, because you're like on this little street here, I can go from like zero, like I would never, but hypothetically, you could go from zero to like, you can go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in like 3 seconds, or 4, which is crazy. But the difference is that in a car, you have this shell wrapped around you, whereas on a motorbike, you're the shell. So death is a real possibility. And I get on that bike and I genuinely think to myself, I'm like, this is so messed up, but this could be the last time this could be the last, my last trip ever, which is so stupid, but it's also kind of deep and true. And, you know, sometimes I ride it and I'm like, you know, if I make a wrong move, I could become a cripple for life. That, like, at the lights, I think that sometimes. And it makes me drive safer. But also it makes me very present to the moment, because I'm like, this is what I was trying to say before. It's like, genuinely, we only ever have the now. There's no such thing as the future. There's no such thing as past. And also, when you kind of go a layer deeper, I recently had, this is pretty deep, but my friend bought an apartment there, and it's pretty cool. And we did a house party there recently. And after I came home, and there I had such an inspiring night, because I actually spent all night speaking with Camille. I got home, and I had the weirdest experience of my life, because I haven't done drugs or drank or anything in the last 5 years. I'm completely sober. I smoke the occasional cigarette, cigar, and coffee. That's it.
Okay.
And I got home from this party, didn't do anything, take anything. I had a chocolate bar, not like fancy chocolate. And I was laying there at night, and I closed my eyes. I'm not joking. This sounds crazy, but I don't care. I am crazy. And I closed my eyes, and instead of seeing like black or nothing, I literally just saw like this white light come across me. And then I was laying there, and my body felt full in bliss. And I was laying there, and I started seeing things. Like I was genuinely kind of tripping, but fully sober. And I spoke to my friend. It was like, maybe it's some kind of quantum thing, or I don't know. No, my other friend said it's a download from the universe. Don't know what that means. But I was laying there, my eyes are closed, I'm just seeing crap. And I was like, I wasn't dreaming. And I was like, it's kind of like, I don't even know what is real or not. Because like, and that's why it doesn't matter like what is future, what is past, it could all be fake. Because also we could have this exact same experience and how you remember it can be completely different to how I remember it. And so what is the definition of the past? Like, is it the same thing that happened? Maybe not, you know? Just to get super deep into it. All of this stuff just fucks my brain. I'd love to understand it more. Do you think more entrepreneurs are conspiracy theorists?
Would that be a conspiracy theory itself?
I have a theory on it. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory.
So then you are one.
I definitely am. I definitely have conspiracy theory traits.
Okay.
I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, to become an entrepreneur, you kind of have to detach from the typical...
To question everything. Yeah,
you have to question everything. And especially to be a successful one, you've probably been messed over a few times. You've probably been, fucked over by some of your best friends or like close business partners, and you've had bad things happen. And not just to be all doom and gloom, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think it makes you just question everything, like you said. Sure. And when you start to question everything in your own life, you can start to question some of the fabric of our reality. You can start to question bits of history that were told to you, and that's why you can become a bit of a conspiracy theorist. That's my theory.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I think it actually holds true. What's one of your dreams right now that you're really working towards? If you don't mind sharing.
There's quite a few, but I think for the most part, I'm oscillating a bit between, let's call it locking in, and like, focusing on work versus accepting that maybe this is only one life, and you're always going to have opportunities, but now is now. Like, I think it's that. So I'm still in the figuring out stage.
You have an answer.
But no, but I think that's my dream, right? Like, that's the dream I'm working on.
Your dream is to lock in?
Trying to figure out. Like, that's the next thing, like that next goal. You're asking me such simple questions. I feel like my brain's not working today.
You're 20-something.
I'm 20-something.
By 30, is there something that you really want to do?
I don't want to say it. Like, it's very cliche.
Is it if you have a family?
Yeah, like that would be nice.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but it's so... I don't know.
It's so what?
Like, it's not something... I don't know. I find this 5-year question very difficult as well. Because it's so... I don't know how to answer that. I really genuinely don't know what life would look like 5 years from now. My main thing is like, I like the idea of being busy. I like the idea of being rich. So I would say like be busy and be rich. That would be my dream. And busy can be in many ways, and rich also in terms of wealth, financially, yes, but also in terms of relationships and friendships and being happy where I'm living, wherever I may be, if not here as well. But yeah, I think that would be a good dream to have. Like, I'm trying to not be too specific because I've been specific before and it has never gone that way.
Really?
And I've still been very happy that it didn't go that way, you know?
So why does it matter?
Exactly, so why does it matter? So I've stopped thinking about it. So if you say like, what's your dream? To be honest, I don't really have one. I just know that there are certain, again, it's like,
but maybe you're living your dream right
values.
now.
Yeah, like that
ways.
alignment, you know? I feel like just doing what I want to do, that's good enough.
That's cool. I've thought about it because it is a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if this helps, but for me, I just say a dream would be to be able to help and positively impact more and more people, to better financially support myself and those around me and my family and friends and loved ones, to have a family. I want horses and stuff like that, and dogs and
horses.
I want a conversation pit and plants.
Okay.
And it's really random and niche. But yeah, and just like live a full life. That's how I see it. But how I view life, this is straight up taken from, I realized it because I saw a clip of his. This comes from Ty Lopez. Is I break my life down into health, wealth, happiness, and then love. Yeah. And love is like family, friends, relationships. And when you view life with like these 4 pillars, I think it's quite nice because for me, those are the 4 important things. Happiness, you could also replace with spirituality or connection with God. I think it's kind of intertwined and similar. But for me, when I break my life down into those 4 areas, I'm like, okay, I know like the areas that maybe I'm lacking in, and I can focus on them and lock in on that.
Yeah.
And then you can transition and then go into another area. And then you can transition and go into another area. And that way, all these 4 pillars can get better and better and better with life. Yeah. And you get a full rounded life rather than a life that's fully like out of whack and fully out of balance. Because you could die tomorrow. And if you die tomorrow, what was the point of it all?
I could die walking down those stairs.
You ain't going to die walking down those stairs.
I won't.
Anyway, so thank you very, very much for coming. I thought it was really fun. Did you have fun?
I did.
Okay, that's important. You've been listening to Pandora's Box. Where can people find you? Because I don't know.
You can just type my name and then you'll find me everywhere, whichever platform.
We'll leave it in the link.
The description box.
Thanks.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, leave a funny comment.
Yeah.
Leave a comment for other topics and things you want us to talk about. Well, not us, but me. Anyone. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well done.